When you are working with teams, you need to understand what you have to do to make it as functioning as possible, to create that ideal team cohesion. Because if you don't have a functioning team with no team cohesion, or a lot of it that is lacking, results are very difficult to achieve. In this video, we will cover the 5 dysfunctions of a team and how to cope with it and how to react in it so you can achieve better results and have better team cohesion along the way. So grab a pen and a piece of paper and let's get into it. What is up, guys? My name is Donnie from nextlevelesports.com, the #1 platform for esports coaches and team development to help you and your team reach that next level by getting the people side of esports right. So if you clicked on this video, thank you so much for watching. If you are gonna like this video at the end, I would highly appreciate it to click the like button. And if you love this type of content, to also hit the subscribe button, hit the notification bell so you get more of this lovely type of content to increase your level of coaching, being a better player or a manager or someone else that is watching it. I highly appreciate it a lot. So with no further ado, let's get into the video of the 5 dysfunctions of an esports team. What you see in front of you is the pyramid of Patrick Lencioni's 5 dysfunctions of a team. We're gonna cover this model layer by layer to let you understand why every step is important, what you need to look out for to recognize if this particular level is in danger, and what you can do in order to restore this function again and to move forward and upper towards the highest position and to get the results in the end of this model. So with no further ado, let's get into the first one, and that is trust. Let's talk about trust. So if there is an absence of trust, it is very difficult for the team to move further and to grow as a team, because absence of trust can be not admitting mistakes, not showing any weaknesses, not following a call because they feel like, oh, that player is bad at communicating or he's bad at this. They don't say it, or they feel it, but they don't act upon it. And within this trust, you can basically view it as being within a mafia, because it's still a group together and they all work together and they are a family. But if you make a mistake or show weaknesses, you are there probably in trouble, right? You always have to look over your shoulder, like, I don't need to say too much or not too little. You're always cautious about what you say and what you give, and you also want to be strong, being the tough guy. But that's not being a team is about. That is mafia plays, and is very a dangerous game in order to achieve. Maybe you get somewhere on the short term, but long term, you won't get anywhere without trust. And how can you, as a player, coach, can this type of behavior and to increase this dysfunction within a team to gain more trust with one another? It is to be human. And what does being human mean? It means admitting mistakes, that even you as a coach might have seen something wrong or said something wrong, and just like openly say towards the team, like, hey guys, stop because this and that happened, and I feel like I let you guys down. And just opening up and show your soft side as well, your human side, and not like this god figure that you might think you might be from time to time. And maybe that is, but it is often a very good idea if you make a mistake to show that you made a mistake, because especially within a leader position, if you are a coach, in-game leader, or captain, or even manager or owner of a team, it is very good to admit your mistakes so they understand you, they know and see that you're human, you want to improve, and they trust you more because they can collaborate with you, they can give advice, and you can get more team bonding and team cohesion together. So in order to gain trust within a team and to move forward into the team cohesion and functions of a team, get real with yourself first, admit your mistakes, connect with one another, just show your soft side, your human side, and then you will see how much it does for the trust to move forward to the next level. The second layer of this pyramid and this model of the 5 dysfunction is conflict. So a lot of new teams struggle with this, and even also some veteran teams from time to time, because new formed teams are more so, let's say, in the honeymoon phase. They want to get to know each other. They don't really know each other's boundaries and how far they can go and how far they can push themselves and others. So they're watching what everyone is doing. And because things are just like friendly and polite, they have a fear to conflict because they don't want to break this atmosphere of friendliness and politeness, that everyone is on board and happy that we're a new team, etc. But you have to really understand that it is very necessary to have conflict, because you think different than your teammate, you think differently perhaps than your coach, or you as a coach think way different than all the teammates or everyone in the organization that is involved. And all these perspectives come down to potential. But if you don't engage with one another, you cannot reach that potential. Potential is achieved by getting their perspectives into the conscious mind of everyone so they can deal with it in the best way possible. And you can only do that by engaging into conflict. And in the beginning of a forming team, or maybe sometimes even later on, it can be somewhat difficult because there's fear of someone's reaction, because maybe a player exploded one time. But you have to understand that it is necessary, because if you hold yourself quiet, you cannot evolve, or the team cannot evolve as well. So be sure to speak up. And on the right side, we see here a solution. It is to demand debate. So that doesn't mean like slam your fists around the table, on the table, or screaming into your mic like, oh, I need to demand the debate. Let's settle this right now and blah, blah, blah. It can be. I don't like the type of behavior. I don't recommend it at all, but it is about demanding debate, and I will give you a good way to start it. So if you are within the honeymoon phase, or the team is in the honeymoon phase, and everyone is being friendly and polite, and they don't really want to admit their mistakes or give criticism towards another player, or give feedback because they have a fear for conflict or whatever, you can say like, okay, we're all here to learn, right? So let's talk about it. Or I've seen a lot of mistakes happening, and I don't really hear anyone else saying that. Have you seen mistake X as well? Have you seen mistake here as well a couple of times? And oftentimes the players will say, yeah, I've seen it, or I noticed it. So you can just say like, okay, I think we need to schedule in some time to talk about these mistakes so we can confront one another and talk this through, so we can learn more about one another and get through this to find a solution. So it is demanding a debate, scheduling some time with one another on the spot, or maybe after the scrim or the prac, or maybe another day depending on the topic, if it's big or small. But it's very important that there is a debate on certain subjects, and the debate is basically there two sides, or maybe even more sides with different perspectives to find, let's say, what is right. Because a debate is often seen, let's say, in a lawyer, like, who is right? I am right, and therefore you are wrong. Within a team environment, you have to understand it's not about you or me is right, but you need to care about what is right. And if you know this and have this mindset, I want to know what is right, it doesn't really matter if I am right or wrong. That's not the case. I want to know what is best for me and the team to evolve towards the next level. So if you have the type of mindset, it becomes a lot easier to confront one another into conflicts and to build up constructive criticism, to call each other out and get in healthy conflict. So that is the second layer of conflict. In order to get towards the commitment phase, you have to have this trust and conflict already within your team, that we can openly discuss ideas and perspectives to evolve the team towards the next level. But what happens when there only conflict and there is only trust about different perspectives and what we're gonna do? Like, yeah, that's a good plan. Yeah, you are right. But you need to have focus and clarity and closure on what is the thing that everyone is involved to move forward towards, right? Because if there is a lack of commitment, that means there is no clear goal oftentimes. There is no focus, like what is the process, the protocol of how we're gonna handle on this particular map in CSGO, what kind of champion picks we have in League of Legends or Dota, or what kind of strategy or tactic we're gonna play in CSGO or Overwatch or whatever kind of game. You need to have focus and clarity and closure. And if everyone is on board, agree with it, then you can move forward, because then there is commitment. You know where the focus is on, and then you can plow forward towards the higher levels, that is accountability and results. So to summarize, if there is a lack of commitment, not everyone doing their job, it's probably you need more time and effort into defining the task, defining what we as a team can do in order to achieve it. Maybe you wanted to write it down, what the exact plan is and how we can achieve that, and how we're gonna practice, on what times, what days, and what the commitment is. What does it is that commitment that we are talking about? Because I want everyone to be committed. Then you have to say, committed to what? Yeah, to win, okay? What do we have to do in order to win? Well, we have to practice, and then all the things trickle down and you can define it. You can get clarity out into the team in order to, this is what we mean with being committed, being on time, following the process inside the game, doing in the right communication lines that we've practiced into the scrims and practices, etc., doing our best, etc. So this is the commitment that you can define and get clarity on. So this is a third line, commitment. Now we come to the fourth layer of the pyramid of the 5 dysfunctions of a team, and that is accountability. And before we dive in, I want you to know that accountability is one of the most important things in a team, even though it is smaller and it starts all off with trust. But accountability is the one thing that often goes wrong in any team. So if you start off with trust, and yeah, we trust each other, we can be human, we admit mistakes, yeah, we can have a healthy conflict, and we can discuss perspectives, and we can evolve it towards a plan, and then have commitment towards that plan, etc. Okay, so now you have clarity on your plan, and you know what to do, but oftentimes within your team, or within the staff, or anything else, people start to show cracks in their commitment, or in their trust, or in their conflict. They forget about the rules that we made, or forget about the values in the team, forget about the process that we all agreed upon, or what kind of mentality we want to go into practice or inside the game. And people are sometimes dropping the ball, and they can do this consciously because they are tired and like, okay, CBA, I don't really care about this game. Then that is probably a conscious call. But oftentimes it happens unconsciously, because if you are in a development environment and you want to become better, you're probably handling a lot of problems at a day. Through the day or through the week, you have communication, you have in-game tactical, strategical preparation, your aim, your mechanics, everything else, and you have your outside life, and things are happening, and people can be forgetful, or it's getting a bit of an overload inside their brain, so they start to forget things. But if you just made a clear plan and people are not executing on it, you have to hold others accountable. You have to call them out that they are making mistake, or they are not following the process, they are not valuing their teammates, or you feel like, oh, you're making excuses, or you're making just like bullshit assumptions or anything else. You have to call them out. And it's basically being in a conflictual situation by not only giving your opinions of what you dislike, but now you have this clear plan and commitment towards something and hold them to it. Responsibility and accountability. And players can be avoidance because it is a part of discipline as well. Holding on to the plan that everyone speak of. And why this is difficult, because if you are, let's say, make a very genius plan and everyone agrees on it, and after 2 days of practice, and 2 days, we all can agree, hopefully, that 2 days practicing is not that much in terms of a whole season of months ahead. But sometimes players start to drop the ball already after 2 days or 3 days or 4 days because, well, they didn't see the instant result or instant gratification that they hoped to be when we all made that plan and all jumped on board towards that commitment, because things are difficult. You have to stick through them. How did you learn the game? Like playing that you're playing now or coaching. You didn't do it right overnight, right? It's like a tedious job. You have to work it. You have to work through it in order to get towards that next level. And the same goes for that plan. If you have a very genius plan of the highest level that everyone can understand and it is so good for your team, of course you're going to have difficulty to hold on to it and follow all the steps and processes because there's so much coming towards you. So you have to understand that especially the leaders have to give the good example of holding each other accountability or holding each other accountable, but also when they see other players not holding others accountable, to hold them accountable for not holding others accountable. And this can be, let's say, a little bit of mind-boggling, but this is so important, and I cannot stress this enough, that we have to hold each other accountable every day, every minute, every hour towards a standard that we are happy with. Because if you let this go and everything else is good, you have to build upon and you make new plans and it's not working. New plans is not working, and after 2-3 months, the split is over and you're happy that you're going into a new team. Hopefully you're getting better teammates, or hopefully you're getting a better organization. This is where it often goes wrong. And you have to confront, in order to evolve this further, confront your teammates, yourself, with difficult issues. Why isn't it working? Why is it difficult to follow through with the process? Why is it still difficult after being very clear on the commitment that we want to be on time, that you're still late? Why is this still happening? And like, not bullshitting one another, but really holding them accountable. And maybe sometimes you have to fine them for something, or have to, let's say, punish them. But it's not like punish them. It sounds really negative, but you can and should see it as tough love. Hold them accountability, because their actions have consequences in the short term and also long term. And if you really want to reach that next level with yourself, in your career, with your team, you have to hold people accountable towards a standard that you feel comfortable in and set it high, really high. Because if you do that and 1 or 2 other teammates do that as well, the level will rise. And even though maybe that 5th player is very good, but he doesn't care any less that he is still late or doesn't follow the process, and scrims are sometimes just like screwed over because he's just there to have fun. If you've done everything, holding yourself and others accountable, then you also know, like, okay, it is us doing the work, holding each other accountable. He doesn't fit the culture. So you know basically where to look for and what the problems are. Because if you cannot confront difficult issues and you don't want to work through them, then there's no point in wanting to become a professional esports career or esports player or esports coach. This is so important. So you probably have some experience if you've been into esports for a couple of months and you've coached or played within a couple of teams. You probably understand how important it is and what you've notice also from your experience what is often lacking. So if you have something else that you want to talk about, just put it down into comments below, and maybe we can have a conversation as well about that to help you even further if it is difficult, because confronting difficult issues, as it says, can be difficult. So I want to help you as well. So if you got some difficult issues that you find difficult, let me know in the comments below, so I can maybe make a new video about it, or I can DM you or send a message to give you some advice and help so you can move further. So this is basically accountability, very, very important. I keep repeating myself, but I want you to know avoidance of accountability is bad. You need to confront the difficult issues and manage it as well as you can go, and really have a high standard of who you want to be, and then hold yourself and others accountable to that. So that is it for accountability. The last and fifth layer is results. There can be from time to time inattention to results, that players or the team or the coach doesn't care that much about the results, the win or the achievement that the team can have, because there's too much focus on the process, or there can be too much attention towards the individual goals. Even though that is result orientated, it is not team orientated, and those are two very separate things. So for example, a player that is winning with his team, he feels like, oh, we are winning. Instead of getting the win, he can take an unconscious or conscious risk by wanting to make an outplay, a montage play, and risking the game for the team, right? It is more like ego orientated, for him to look good, for him to maybe get scouted by the other team, but is forgetting the team results. So even though he might look good, he doesn't put in the actions to focus on the results, but more focus on the results for his own gain, his own ego. So those are very different things. In order to shift that, we need to focus on the outcomes. So what do we want to have out of the process that we practiced inside the scrims or practice or at the end of this game, right? Sometimes it's just that easy, like what do we want to achieve at the end of this day, and that is that win. Or we want to, if we do this exercise inside the training, the scrim or the practice, that we want to have at least this type of score or this type of kill death ratio, or we at least have done this a couple of times. It shifts perspective and really gets everyone more focused on what we want to achieve. So it all comes down, just like the accountability of the commitment, we have the plan. We know what to do, what the plan is. Then the accountability builds on top of that. Like, okay, we need to do that. I want you to still keep doing that, being disciplined in what we do, really following the process. And then following the process, at the end of it, we want to have this type of results. So that is why it's on the top. And there are distinctive differences between an individual result and the team results. So this type of results is about the team and not individual. So you have to be aware as a coach or as a player, are you playing for yourself or are you playing for the team? And if you're playing for your team, what is the outcome that you want to achieve? Because sometimes you don't want to, let's say, focus only on the win. Because let's say you are a bottom tier team because the budget didn't allow, or you're a new upcoming talent, you're young, you have a talent lineup, and you have this professional team that is top one. It might not be that realistically to go for the win. So it would be better than to focus on a different outcome. So what is the outcome? So maybe that we have fun within the team, that we just play our game, and that the outcome that we want to have, the result that we want to have, is that we all fought till the very last breath, that if they want to take the win, they have to grab it from our cold hands, even though there's a good chance that we won't win, that we have that mindset, the mentality, and that it's gonna show. So it isn't focused on the win, but more so focus on these specific measurements inside the team, how you can observe it and what the result is for a team. So think about that as well. So results is not only win, but also can be a different type of statistic, behavior, or anything else. So if you have this plan all together and there's inattention to results, focus on the outcomes and define what the outcomes are that you want to see within yourself, within the team, and everyone else that is involved. So this concludes every single layer of the 5 dysfunctions of a team, and let's get back to the overview. And now we come back to the full overview of the pyramid of Patrick Lencioni's 5 dysfunctions of a team. So how can you apply this, let's say, in a newly formed team for yourself? So let's assume you are within a new team or creating a new team or have the ambition to create a new team. What are the focus points and what should be organically be the steps in order to follow? So let's start off with creating the team. So if you just created the team, you want to just play together, get to know each other, and also be the first one to admit mistakes and also invite others to do so as well. And if you get to know each other by being human, like, okay, yeah, we need to improve, this can be better, it feels good that everyone trusts one another. You can see this, let's say, as a honeymoon phase where everyone is collaborative, friendly, and polite as well. And then we move up into the conflict phase. So when everyone is polite and showing their weaknesses that is coming from themselves, we get to a point where we also see weaknesses within others, where their mistakes are made or something that we don't like in pieces of behavior. And this evolves like organically and naturally. So in order to get that conversation going, we want to demand debate. And that's not slamming your fist on the table like, oh, we need to talk about this right now and you this. No, it's about like, oh, we've seen some things, or I've seen some things that are going wrong, or people are afraid, I believe, or I feel like by speaking up or calling someone out in their differences or their mistakes. So let's schedule in some time to talk about it, or maybe after this game, or are we open to talk about it right now? Because there can be a barrier of fear for people to not say what they actually think. And you want your teammates to say what they think, because if you get everyone's perspective in and everyone is there to see it and to hear it and to feel it, then you can do something about it. And that is the key to reach that potential. So when you get into these different types of perspectives, you want to evolve it towards, let's say, a plan to make clear, defined roles and clarity and closure of what the path that everyone is involved with are choosing. So everyone can get on the same page in terms of planning, in terms of roles, in terms of execution as well, and behavior. So then you can get commitment. But if you have a lack of that, be sure to check if everything is clear again. And if everything is clear again, then is it just a term of execution. And in terms of execution, you have to acknowledge that it doesn't happen overnight. Because you made a plan, it doesn't mean that you have to or can execute it instantly, right? It doesn't happen over one night of ice. It doesn't happen sometimes in a week. You have to be committed. You have to be disciplined. And because you're working with so many things, and maybe your attention goes from communication to mechanical plays to tactical, strategical, analytical, it can be a little bit much, and you can forget something, and other teammates can forget something as well. And therefore, to really get the plan working for you and your team, you want to hold yourself and others accountable to confront difficult issues, that someone is late, someone is always forgetting that type of play, or still is lacking in that piece of communication, and how can you deal with that? Because if you confront these difficult conversations, it's not easy. That's why they are difficult, right? Obviously. But you have to work through them, because if you don't work through them, you just keep making new plans and go for the quick fix. But there is no quick fix. there really is no quick fix. If you want to you want to skip steps, but you cannot. In team development, you have to go through the hard times as well. There are like highs and there are lows, and you have to work all through it together. So if there is avoidance in accountability, be sure, especially for you esports coaches, in-game leader and captains, to hold others accountable and show and take the lead and lead by example and confront those difficult issues. Demand debate, get clarity again, be human if things are misconceived or misunderstood, and then get clarity, get on the same page again, and then move forward. And if everyone is then accountable, then you can get to the highest stage and to get some really good results in. But even though when you have results as your achievement point, and that's oftentimes winning, it doesn't always have to be winning, because sometimes there's inattention towards the results, because some players are more focused on themselves or something else that they are talking about, or maybe a part of the group is focused on this and the other part is focused on that, and that's not really helping the team in general. So you want to get on the same page as well, and you want to clarify what the outcome should be. So oftentimes it can be a win, but as I explained in the video as well, let's say you are a more amateur team and there's a professional team in the same league with you, and they're like 5 years ahead in terms of experience, knowledge, and gameplay. Will be very difficult to focus on the win. You can focus on it, but think about if that will be a realistic goal for yourself. So you can also look at, let's say, some goals that you can set, not the win, but maybe some data that you want to achieve, some kill-death ratios, that you have a certain type of mentality, or that we are still following the process as we practice in the scrims and pracs, etc. So that can be outcomes and result as well. And if you combine this and sometimes move back and then forth, and you know where you are as a player, or even more as a coach where the team is, then you can do, let's say, exercises, or can put some emphasis on what you have to do. So really quick recap: if you have trust issues, if there's an absence of trust, be human, admit mistakes. If there is a fear of conflict, demand debate. Set up time, schedule time to get into the conflict and debate and get perspectives going to get into the right solution for the team to move forward. Then if there is a lack of commitment, then be sure to focus and to clarify and get closure on things, so everyone be on the same train, the same page to move forward. Then if there's avoidance of accountability, confront difficult issues. If someone is always late, that you have trouble with, if someone is always forgetting a different play, or doesn't do his homework, or doesn't play enough of individual gameplay to improve his skill, etc. Can be anything. Confronted with difficult issues, you might need to go down, let's say, to conflict, and also gain a little bit of trust. So that is something you have to work with as you go and manage it as good as you can, and then focus lastly on the results. And if there's inattention towards results, focus on outcome. What is that exactly that you find realistically that you want to achieve at this moment? So that is it for this video, the 5 dysfunctions of a team. And that is it, guys. That concludes the video of the pyramid of Patrick Lencioni's 5 dysfunctions of a team. If you like this video, hit and smash that like button for the thumbs up. And if you loved this video, then also please hit the subscribe button, also hit the notification bell, so you'll be always the first one to see these types of content and videos as well, so you can level up your gaming, your coaching experience, and be better in esports as well. So thank you so much for watching. If you got any questions about this video or anything else, got any recommendations, I would love to hear in the comments below, and I will see you guys next time. Bye bye.